Hi guys, and welcome to part 2 of the series on the chords in C major. In this video, what I want to do is look at the secondary triads, which are the minor triads, and look at how we can integrate them in chord progressions. So let me just get the music on screen. Let me just get that up again. Oops. Okay, I'm just going to make a little alteration here. Just bear with me a sec. It's doing computer stuff. Okay, here we go. So we've got our chords in C major, and as you remember, there's 6 chords. There's actually 7 if you want to be precise. We've got this B diminished chord on the B, which is basically G7 in disguise, just without this little finger nut. It's got a little tuning discrepancy there. Okay, so last week we looked at the primary triads, which is the F, C, F and G, or the first, the fourth and the fifth. And remember, we use Roman numerals in music to identify which note of the scale the chords are built on. Just want to backpedal a little bit and just mention that where we were getting our chords from is simply we've got a scale which is a series of notes, okay, and we're simply building our chords out of the first, third and fifth notes, starting on each note. So when we take C, E and G, we get a C major chord. Now we can't play all those notes simultaneously as a chord on the ukulele because it's quite limited, so what we have to do is we have our G here, okay. So, well, actually we can do it in this case. So C, E and G, we get our first chord, okay. And then whoops, there we get our D minor. So D, you get our D note, we've got our F note, and we've got our A note, the first, the third and the fifth. So that kind of works, okay. Now when we get to G, the first note's here, which is an E note, but what is going to work a little bit better is playing our E here, okay, and now we've got a stack E, G and B, so E, G and B, and there's our E minor. F, problem is we can't put this note, which is the third, and this note, the fifth. They're both on the same string, so we have to put the fifth 1 octave lower. And now you notice that we don't go F, A, C up to C. We've got the C below, so it's not quite the same. G is a similar kind of thing. We'd have a G, a B, and you can't see it here, but there'd be a D. So here we've got our G. There's our B, and then we have to put our D below. Okay, so it's a D note. Okay. Finally, we've got our A, and now this note's right at the top, so we've got no choice but to put our C and our E. So the notes are A, C, and E. We've got to put those notes below. So here's our E, and here's our C. Just that. Okay. And this would be our diminished triad, and we'd need the notes B, D and F. Well, to find an F, again, this is a high note, so we can't go any higher than this. We've got to go lower. So there's our F, and the other note we need is a D, and there's our D. Okay, so there's our B diminished chord, and that, as you notice, that's our G7. So that's the idea, and we call this harmonizing a major scale. Okay, that's what we've done here. So these shapes here, they're pretty much the same ones, but they're just designed for you know, 4 strings. Okay, so anyway, what I want to look at today is the secondary triads, and these are the minor triads. Okay, now in a major key, you're still going to use more major triads than minor triads, but we're going to add a few in. So let's just hang on. Let's just make a note here of what we're doing here. Chords in C major, part 2, secondary triads. Okay, so here are our secondary triads, and what I want to do is just sort of bring in some typical progressions. So let's say we have, this is a good old fashioned 50s style chord progression, and we're going to go with 2 beats of C major, as you can see, and then 2 beats of A minor, and there's our secondary triad, and then we're going to go, so that's a 1 chord. C is number 1, A minor is number 6, C, D, E, F, G, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to put in a 4 chord, which is our F. F is number 4. We'll do 2 of those. And finally, we'll put in a G7. As you remember from last video, anywhere you can use a G, you can use a G7. It's not always true, but it's generally true, so we'll go with that. Okay, so now we've got this kind of chord progression: C, A minor, F, G7. Or you might want to play it with a funkier rhythm. Some of you might recognize it as the chord progression to Heart and Soul. Let me try and pitch. Etc. etc. It's kind of one of those tunes that every piano student in the world has learned. Okay, so let's say I wanted to take this progression and put more minor chords in it. One very easy thing I could do is this. Okay, I'm going to change the F chord into a D minor chord, and you might notice that F and D minor are only 1 note different. So now we've got beat 1 and 2 C, beat 3 and 4 A minor, and we'll put in A minor is the 6, whoops, a daisy, 6 chord. Okay, 6. And then on beat 3, we've got the 2 chord. So beat 1, bar 2, 2 chord is D minor. And then we've got a good old fashioned G7. So this should sound similar. But a little different. Okay, so this is the original. C, A minor, F, G7, and then C, A minor, D minor, G7. Okay, so that's kind of nice. I wonder what else we could do. Let me have a little think. Okay, I'll give you another progression. Okay, that uses some of the other minor chords. So let's go with something like this. So we'll do C, D minor, E minor, and F, in fact. So we're kind of going up the scale, but using chords. So we'll call this where C is 1, D is 2, E is 3, and F is 4. So we've got a kind of even balance of major and minor chords. So we go C, D minor, E minor, F. So I quite like the sound of that. Now there's another one that's really, really common. There's actually a lot of different options here, but there's okay. Let's try another one then. So, thing is, you can think of as many as you want, really. So I'm gonna try another one which has got 2 minor chords in. So we've got C, G, okay, so actually, I'm going to do C, G, A minor, 2 bars, and then F. And what you might notice about this chord progression is it's got the same chords as the earlier progression. I just mentioned that above. So this is 1, 5, 6, and 4. Okay, 1, 5, 6, 4. Just play that quickly. Okay, well, this is the same chords as the earlier one, which was C, A, F, G. I know I put yeah, C, A, F, G instead of C, G, A, F. So we've put these chord progression, these chords in a different order, and it just gives it a slightly different character, you know. That's the one we just did, 1, 5, 6, 4, and then the original one was something like this. Okay, 1, 6, 4, 5. So I feel like I want to do one more. So how about this? Let's start on C. Do that for 2 beats. And we'll go to an E minor. So I want to use that chord 3, the E minor. And where can we go? Okay, so we've got C, E minor. Let's put a D minor in. Okay, that'll be kind of cool. D minor, and then Could put a G here, or could put an F. I'm going to go with a G because it sounds like more of a chain. I'm going to do G7, and so that's going to give us chord 1. I'm going to have chord 3. We're going to have chord 2, and we're going to have chord 5. So let's see what that sounds like. So C, E minor, D minor, G7, 1, 3, 2, and you might have figured out that this is the chord progression for Easy Like Sunday Morning. It's Lionel Richie. So a lot of these chords progressions are used in a lot of songs, and you can change a lot of things. I'm just giving you the very basic forms, just simple strumming patterns, just lists of chords basically. But if you put a different rhythm, you put a melody over it, things like that. Then these sort of generic progressions can make distinctive songs. All right, I think I'm going to call it there. I've got a lesson to rush off to, so I better wrap it up. But hopefully you've got some insight into how you can use the primary and now the secondary triads of a key, a harmonized scale, to make chord progressions, and this should help you learn songs. One final thing is, just in case you're wondering about the whole thing with numerals, the idea is it tells us what the relationship between the chord and the key is. So the idea, it's kind of like algebra. When C is the first chord, the second chord is D minor. Okay, but let's say we're in a different key. If we're in a key of D, if D was the first chord, the 2 chord would be E minor. So the idea of the Roman numerals is, if we want to put the chord progression in a different key, we convert it into numerals, and then we start in the new key and we convert them back. So I know that's probably not going to make a lot of sense yet, but we should discuss this in future. Okay, so anyway, hope you found that useful. Keep practicing, and I'll see you soon.